Governing the legal disputes of 1.4 billion people requires an immense apparatus. But today, the Indian judicial system operates dangerously beyond its physical capacity. Across the country, there are currently over 50 million pending court cases clogging the system. According to a strategy paper from Niti Aayog, at the current rate of disposal, it would take over 300 years just to clear the existing backlog. Telling a citizen to wait 3 centuries for a verdict breaks the legal process. This impossible timeline creates a desperate incentive to find a way to skip the line, birthing a secondary crisis of systemic bribery. Judicial corruption in India is driven by raw volume. When an extreme backlog crushes the infrastructure, paying a bribe becomes the only practical way to make the system move. To see how this functions, we have to look at the ground level, the district courts, where the vast majority of the Indian public interacts with the legal system. This visualization maps out the experience of those citizens. According to Transparency International, 32% of Indian court users recently paid a bribe to navigate the system. But as we break down that segment, a specific pattern emerges. The majority of these funds do not go to the magistrates delivering the verdicts. They flow directly to administrative staff and middlemen. This is known as speed money. Citizens pay these bribes simply to secure a hearing date, process a permit, or physically move a case file from one clerk's desk to another. This bottleneck exists because the lower courts are underfunded, operating with a chronic 20% vacancy rate for judges. At the bottom of the judicial hierarchy, corruption operates as an illegal survival tax. Ordinary citizens pay it just to access their constitutional right to a trial. This vulnerability extends upward from the district level into the administrative engine of the higher courts, the registry. Chief Justice Surya Kant recently pushed for a deep probe into the Supreme Court registry, describing a breakdown where administrative staff have begun to see themselves as permanent fixtures, while judges are merely temporary occupants. The investigation revealed that entrenched clerks were allegedly manipulating case listings. They were physically intercepting files and diverting them to different benches behind the judges' backs. The system's vulnerabilities often lie entirely outside the courtroom. Unseen bureaucrats controlling the paperwork hold immense, unchecked power over the administration of justice. At the absolute apex of the system sit the High Courts and the Supreme Court of India. Here, leadership is governed by the collegium system. It is a uniquely Indian framework where a closed group of senior judges holds the exclusive power to appoint their own successors. This opaque appointment process fuels what critics call the Uncle Judge syndrome. Data from 2024 shows that roughly 38% of Supreme Court judges possess deep family connections within the legal establishment. While the collegium holds absolute power to appoint, there is almost no functional mechanism to remove them. In the entire history of modern India, not a single judge has ever been successfully impeached. The constitutional hurdles are high. Removing a corrupt judge requires massive majorities in both houses of parliament, and the entire process must be completed within a single legislative session. By fiercely walling itself off to protect its independence from politicians, the higher judiciary has shielded itself from any meaningful democratic oversight. The loudest demands for fixing this structural crisis are now coming directly from reformers within the legal community itself. The proposed solutions target the physical mechanics of the courts, digitizing millions of paper records, mandating e-filing to bypass administrative middlemen, and filling the 20% judicial vacancy gap. Lawmakers are also debating the establishment of regional branches of the Supreme Court. This would decentralize judicial power and ease the severe geographic bottleneck in New Delhi. This pie chart tracks public awareness of corruption in the judicial system. While 52.5% are somewhat aware, researchers found this awareness creates a barrier. Rather than seeking reform, many people avoid the system entirely to sidestep its inherent complexity and delays. Protecting the integrity of the world's largest democracy requires fixing the structural plumbing of its courts. The goal is to ensure that justice functions as an accessible right for 1.4 billion people, rather than a product bought with time.